Carpentry by NJT is based in the western suburbs and has many years of experience to assist you in sourcing any and all of your carpentry needs. Carpentry by NJT are great supporters of local soccer clubs in Melbourne's western suburbs, including ambitious State League One outfit Sydenham Park Soccer Club. Home Builders Corp, meanwhile, is a Melbourne-based construction company by the same owners with more than 15 years' experience. Home Builders Corp specialises in new homes and unit developments. With attention to detail, they work to the highest standard to satisfy their customers with a very quick turnaround. For further details about how either Carpentry by NJT or Home Builders Corp can help you, contact owner-manager Nick on 0410 576 018 or via email at nick@homebuilderscorp.com.au. Carpentry by NJT and Home Builders Corp are the proud major sponsors of the Football Out West show. Good evening, folks, and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. We have got a bumper episode of the Football Out West show tonight with an all-star cast, an all-star panel providing all the commentary, all the analysis, and all the predictions on the NPL, NPL2, NPL3, and NPLW competitions. My name's Tonci Prusak. Tonight, I'm only one quarter of the panelists that are going to be on the show. Welcoming my first co-host and co-panelist for tonight, Steve Curtin, as I do each week. How are you, Steve? It's been a big weekend, been a big year, but it's going to be a big show tonight.
Yeah, I'm a bit daunted. We've got a lot to get through. I've just heard the pre-show briefing and we've got to put our neck on the line tonight. So I'm feeling a bit nervous, actually, Tonci, to be honest. But how are you tonight?
I'm well. I'm excited. As I said, a massive show tonight. We'll be making a lot of enemies, I think, Steve. I'm sure of that because we'll be putting our head on the block. We'll be making some bold predictions and there will be people that are going to agree with us. And as is always the case with football, a game of opinions, there will be people who will be making a lot of enemies. Now, speaking of friends and enemies, he's got many of them. Our next panelist, our next co-host, he hasn't been around for a long, long time, but he's back with us tonight with Avengers. Craig Filer, a big round of applause for Craig Filer. He's making his a long-awaited return. How are you, Craig? How's things?
Very good, very good. And I probably got more enemies than I got friends, Ton. So let's just get that one straight out of the way, shall we? So, no, it's a pleasure to be back, guys. It's been a long time. It's been a busy time on the home front and the football front. Hence the reason why I've not been on. But yeah, glad to be back on tonight, and hopefully be back over the next couple of weeks.
Now, this is despite the fact that you haven't been on air, Craig. You've been behind the scenes working feverishly, getting us guests aplenty. We've only got one guest tonight because we're going to look at the NPL Victoria segment quite comprehensively. Who is going to be appearing on the show very, very shortly?
I don't think I can do him justice. It's probably Steve would be the one to probably do him justice and give him a bit of a build-up. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, perhaps I can. Perhaps I can do that. Are we talking about someone, I don't know, young and enthusiastic, a bit younger than ourselves? Are we talking about perhaps
way younger than
could be anybody, I suppose?
Way younger than ourselves, mate, and too good looking as well. He's like one of those Robert De Niro type characters, isn't he?
Robert De Niro.
He's smooth.
He's not.
He's smooth. He's a
smooth operator.
He is a smooth operator.
50 years ago. Actually, isn't Robert De Niro coming out with a really good movie in early August? But let's talk about serious football business. Who are we talking about, gents?
Yeah, well, maybe he has got an acting career ahead of him. We just haven't heard about it yet.
James Bond. He certainly looks like the next James.
Just get to it.
Yeah.
Well, joining us tonight, he is one half of the NPL pod on the NPL Victoria Focus pod, the Cult podcast. And
There he is.
here he is joining us now. Good evening to you. And thanks for joining us again. Welcome back to the Football Out West show, LACHIE FLANNIGAN.
Hello, Steve, Craig, and Tonci. I'm a bit confused that my face has popped up on the screen because, to be quite honest with you, the way you were describing who was joining you, I thought, oh, LIAM BOLAND's coming on early. That's brilliant. So, no, I'm glad to be a part of it. Anytime there's a NPL Victoria, in-depth in NPL Victoria discussion to be had, my ears are always burning. So glad I can contribute to another one tonight.
Yeah, no, fantastic. It's going to be a ripper show, guys. Stay with us. We want your feedback as well in the comments section. Let us know what your thoughts are. But Craig's got this little bit of explain it to us, Craig. What have you got coming up? What have you got sort of that you've organised for us?
Yeah, look, I just thought it would be a good idea with 7 weeks of the season left. We thought about doing a complete show about NPL and State League football, but I think we're probably doing what we've done. We're just going to do an NPL roundup tonight, but we're going to get some predictions from the glorious panel on each division. Now, there's one or two of us that are not familiar with NPL 3, but certainly on NPL and NPL 2. So we're going to go with, shall I bring it up, Tonci?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And whilst you're talking about that, we'll also be bringing on Avondale FC's LIAM BOLAND. He's going to be helping us to explain a few things as well. How the Avondale FC machine just seems to be going from strength to strength in the NPL Victoria competition. So he's going to be a big guest coming on tonight's show. LIAM BOLAND, stay tuned for that, folks. But explain to us, Craig, what this all entails, and then we'll go for a very quick commercial break.
Yeah, so we'll go through all the divisions. We'll have a chat about the games on the weekend and the fixtures coming up, and then the four of us will predict who we think will be the premiers, the runners-up, who's likely to get relegated, the gold medal winners in NPL, the Golden Boot, Coach of the Year, and we'll move down into NPL 2 and NPL 3 and try and get the same sort of responses. So a bit of fun. As always, join in with the comments. It's not just us. It's a show for everybody. So join in. Give us your thoughts. Who's going to be up? Who's going to be down? And who's going to be stuck in the middle?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like a lot to come on. Like I said, we're going to stick our head on the chopping block. We'll make friends. We'll make enemies. But that's just part and parcel of the game. Folks, don't go away. Immediately after this commercial break, it'll be time for NPL Victoria analysis. And I'm looking forward to this one, because a few results on the weekend made it very, very interesting, both at the top and at the bottom. Don't go away. It's the Football Out West show, episode 118.
Welcome to Anytime Fitness in Werribee.
The club with the most supportive, welcoming and friendliest members and staff.
Whether you're a first-timer, gym goer or just an everyday person, we are here for you.
Recently renovated facility offers you everything you need to get started with your health and fitness goals.
Our club offers brand new state-of-the-art cardio equipment, an amazing functional zone for group classes, a lifting zone, and really does cater for every single person. So don't miss out. Come see us in club to redeem this offer.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. We're going to start the NPL Victoria now analysis, the top division. Steve, you're going to go through the results firstly, aren't you?
Yeah, we'll start with what happened last night, and LACHIE might be able to go into this in a little bit more detail, but it was the Oakley Cannons getting over the line courtesy of Alex Salmon on 46 minutes against a Hume City side that is in a world of chaos at the moment. We might come back to that as well with their fourth coach of the season and their seventh coach within 12 months. Shane Rex Heppy coming in from replacing Cam Watson, who'd only been there for a short time. The game of the round, though, was at Paisley Park, and it was an upset win for Altona Magic, a double for Tommy Semi and Josh Markowski, Josh, not Jonas, getting on the score sheet for the Magic, and Nepomuceno and Bramwell for the Knights. A rare 0-0. We are treated to a lot of high-scoring games, but Port Melbourne and Dandenong Thunder didn't trouble the scorers. It was 1-1 in an important game for Bentley Greens. They got a point against Heidelberg United. Mario Barcia opening the scoring. That goal cancelled out by Kane Shepherd. Another big result, 2 wins on the bounce for North Geelong. Luka Jurkovic scoring after just 7 minutes against Moreland City, who find themselves slumping into the relegation zone. And on Friday night, Avondale, which we'll talk to Liam about a little bit shortly, Christian Trajewski, Liam Boland himself, Blake Carpenter, and another goal was credited to Taylor Shrivers. But I think Yusuf Ahmed will feel a bit stiff if he's not credited with that goal. Craig might agree with me there too. Liam Driscoll sent off in 10 minutes, after 10 minutes, after Stefan Zinni was clean through on goal, and he was brought down outside the penalty area, and that really set up the game state for something that was advantage Avondale and the new signings, the two Georges getting on the park in the second half. And all the way back, 5 days ago on Tuesday night, it was South Melbourne 4 on that bitterly cold evening at Lakeside. St Albans 0, Max Mikula with a penalty. Liram Almazi getting himself on the score sheet. Also, Painter Andrews and Lang La, and that rounds out what's been an action-packed round of NPL 1 that's spanned quite a long span, almost a whole week.
Mate, no one gives a comprehensive roundup of the weekend's rounds the way you do, Steve Curtin. That was absolutely brilliant. Lockie, you've got a hard act to follow. Let's go through the ladder.
Yeah, well, the upshot of the weekend's results is that Avondale remain at the top of it. Of course, they've got a 3-point gap now on South Melbourne in second place, who of course have a game in hand in the form of the Greek derby. Oakley were able to just keep within touching distance as they got the goal that they needed to against Hume to stay in third, while Melbourne Knights, that loss to Altona, a little bit costly. They're 11 points back of Oakley Cannons, now in fourth position. Fortunately for them, though, Port Melbourne couldn't get all 3 points against Dandenong Thunder, so they only gained ground on them by just the singular point, while Green Gully round out the top 6. And then, as you can see, Altona, Thunder, and Heidelberg sort of in a potential race to pip Gully into that final spot in the 6. And then you look at the rest of the table, and Hume, St Albans Saints, North Geelong jumping out of the relegation places with a very, very important win against Moreland City, while Bentley Green still remain in the bottom 2, but at the foot of the table, it is the aforementioned Moreland City. But it does seem as though the table is broken into a couple of really distinct groups, where there's that top 3 who are clearly out in the front. There's a bit of a 4 down to 7 kind of cluster, and then it's chaos in the bottom half.
Yeah, let's head to next week's rounds, Craig, the fixtures.
Yeah, Friday night's the big game, isn't it? At Melbourne Knights, fourth versus top. Melbourne Knights taking on the current leaders, Avondale. Same night up at Churchill Reserve, St Albans against Bentley Greens. Whilst Green Gully entertain North Geelong. They'll be void by their second win on the bounce, and Gully in a bit of strife with the goalkeeper getting sent off on Friday night, which leaves them a little bit short. On Saturday, Port Melbourne, Heidelberg, Hume City, Moreland Zebras. That's Moreland City. Sorry, that's a big game down at the bottom. Dandenong Thunder and Magic, and then on Sunday it's the big one, South Melbourne versus Oakley Cannons at McIver Reserve in Yarraville.
Yes, they're going to play their games at Yarraville there for a while, I think, while their ground is being made unavailable. Or what was the reason, Steve? We heard about that recently.
It's a World Cup training venue.
Yeah. All right, gents. Craig, take it away.
Sorry, I've just frozen there because my Steve's just come up. Is my sound not good, is it?
It sounds good now. That's good.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Don't move. Just stay where you are.
We're in, are we?
Have
All
a look
right.
at the spreadsheet.
Let's have a look.
Rain Man here with his prediction spreadsheet.
He's
Goodness me.
the Rain Man. You can always count on him, can you, every week? So, looking at the tables, if we can just pop the tables back up there, Tonci, and we can just have a chat about that, talk about what we think. You just got the tables there?
Yep.
All right. We'll go to the man in the know, the NPL guru, Lockie. Obviously, Avondale sat there up on top of the ladder at the moment, closely followed by South Melbourne and Oakley Cannons. It looks like it's going to be between those 3 for the minor premiers. Can you see any shocks from elsewhere, or who do you think will take out that crown?
So you're asking me to lock in my prediction this early, Craig. I'm used to thinking about it for a few days. South Melbourne are close, and if they win that game in hand, they'll obviously be level on points. But I think I think Avondale will hold on to claim the Premier's plate. I think they have been the most impressive side this season. But yeah, that game in hand is going to be absolutely crucial for South against Heidelberg.
Yeah, it was really interesting that Avondale have 4 home games and 3 away games. Home games. And South Melbourne, obviously, with the Yarraville. The next 2 are at home at McIver in Yarraville, but then they've got 5 away: Bentley, Port Melbourne, Antona, and the big game will be the second last game, which is Avondale away, and then North Geelong to finish off. So they've got a tough run in. Avondale got Dandy Thunder home, Heidelberg. Not sure where that's going to be played yet. St Albans, Oakley Cannons, South Melbourne, and Bentley Green. So. You're going to lock in Avondale, are you?
Yes, I will.
The question should be, is there anyone thinking that Avondale won't make it?
Probably the only thing you can say is that they're also a club who's going to be a victim of having to play these games away, and could that catch up with them at some point and potentially they drop points. But I think they've got a handy lead on their rivals, at least Oakley in third. They've got a nice gap there, and Knights in fourth, a huge gap there. So it's probably only South Melbourne that can displace them for me if South were to have a good run. But Avondale probably, with their latest signings, are looking like their squad is very deep. They're looking pretty healthy, and I can't see any reason why they won't take out that minor premier role.
I'm the same. I think Avondale will be the minor premiers now. Craig, what about yourself?
Look, I can't argue with you three gents. I think Avondale are the strongest side, given the fact that South Melbourne have got those run of away games. I think they might slip up in 1 or 2 of those. But having watched Avondale on Friday night with Steve, the signings that they've made, bringing in the 2 Georges, Dot and George Mells, has really strengthened them. And even when they took their substitutes off on Friday night and put their substitutes on, it was something that any other club in the league would want. So I can't see Avondale being beaten now. I think that it's going to be theirs.
Craig, your voice is cutting in and out. I'm noticing. I'm not sure if the rest of you gents are noticing it, but the volume seems to be going up and down, up and down. But anyway, speaking of Avondale and speaking of predictions here, unanimous predictions that they'll make it as minor premiers, we've got our guest for tonight on the show, and it's a big warm welcome to Liam Boland from the Avondale Football Club. Liam, thank you first of all for joining us here on the show. Mate, this is massive. We haven't had this many panelists and guests on the one show, so we are really privileged to have you on the show. Mate, it's just going from strength to strength, or so it seems. What's the feeling like in the dressing room at the moment? Sitting pretty at the top, though.
Thanks for having me, gents. It's been a good season so far, but as we know, it doesn't matter at the moment until 26 rounds are done, and we're sitting pretty at the top, but it's only a 3-point gap, and there's a game in hand for South. So it was a good result Friday night. There was a red card early, which probably ruined the game for the neutrals, but for us, I thought it was a very dominant performance, and we kept the ball, and which we have done with a lot of sides this year. And so I was happy with that. But for us, we just got to take it week by week. I know it's a cliche, but we've been in this position before, so we've got to just keep our heads down and go one game at a time, really, as boring as that sounds.
No, that's okay to answer that way, Liam. I've had the privilege of watching you play live the last couple of weeks, and last week you managed to get yourself a double, and that was from playing in a number 10 role. Then this week you, against Gully, you moved into more of that conventional centre forwards role. How do you see yourself being utilised for the remainder of the season, and where do you like to play these days most?
I mean, most of my career I've been a 9, but as I've got older, I've really enjoyed playing that 10 role. I mean, for this year, I'm more than happy to play wherever I need to for the team, and I've said that to the coaching staff. Really doesn't bother me where I play, to be honest, as long as we're winning. At this point in my career, it's not about individual accolades or anything. I really need to be winning trophies as a team with the team. So. For me, I like playing anywhere, but as I'm getting older, I am enjoying that 10 role. And I'm moving home next year to Perth, and I probably wouldn't mind maybe changing to a 10 over there, to be honest, just probably get kicked a little bit less as I'm getting older. But yeah.
Liam, I know you just said that you're not focused on individual accolades at the moment, but I am going to ask you about an individual accolade because it was a big one in this competition. 10 goals for the campaign for you, but crucially, I think about a month ago now, you overtook Milos Lujic, became the first man in NPL Victoria history to hit the 100 goals. I mean, was that something you were aware of going into the season? Have you been actively tracking it down, or has it just been all eyes on the title and the Premier's Plate?
Well, before the season started, I knew I was in the 90s, roughly around there, but I wasn't sure exactly. And then when it came up after scoring a few goals, I had a kind of look at it, and I thought I might have cracked it against Melbourne Knights with a double there. And then we played Dandy Thunder a week later, and I actually did my hamstring in the first half. And I came off, and after the game, Joey Lynch was there, and he said to me, "Oh, are you aware of the record?" And I said, "Oh, what do you mean?" I thought I'd done it. He goes, "No, you're on 99, tied with Lynch," and I'd just done the hamstring. So I was like, fair enough. And then it took a few weeks, and got back into the side eventually, and it took a bit longer than I would have liked, but yeah, we got there in the end. So it's a nice thing to have. I mean, to be the first one to do it in the NPL. I know that the name has changed over the years, and there's other players who would have cracked 100 maybe previous to that. But for the NPL, it's a nice thing to have and something that I can take home with me for sure.
Yeah, it certainly takes some doing, that's for sure. So big well done on that. Now, just going back to Friday night's game, Liam. Obviously, the sending off to Green Gully's Liam Driscoll after 10 minutes. Did that change the game for you guys? Because for us in the commentary team, I said to you earlier on today that we were so looking forward to this game. Two fantastic football sides who like to get the ball down and play, and we turned up really excited about the game. And then 10 minutes in, we turned into a damp squib. So how do you as footballers manage that after obviously 10 minutes? It's obviously going to be a lot easier for you. But how do you as a player?
It's a good question. I think with this team over the years, we might have started to rush it and get impatient in situations like this. And I felt like there was a 5-minute gap where we probably did do that after we lost a man and after they lost a man, sorry. And I kind of think showed maturity in the group that we kind of put our foot on the ball and started moving it around, because they were looking to just, as with 10 men, you're just trying to kind of pinch a chance and make it 1-1 or whatever and defend. Really, you're not going to be able to dominate the ball. So I thought we did that well, and it did change the game massively, obviously, because they're an attacking team. I think we've scored the most goals in the NPL. They're second, I think it is, in goals scored. So it was going to be an attacking game for sure. It probably took that aspect away from it, but I was very happy with our performance in the end, and I think we really dominated.
And Liam, where do you see the key differences from where you're at last year? Obviously, there will be a lot of differences, but what is the distinguishing thing that's seeing you guys doing so well? 52 points this year already, and as you say, 65 goals scored, and last season just stuck on the 40 points and outside the top 6. Everything behind the scenes must be going along really smoothly.
Yeah, we've added some great players as well this year, and I think the big difference would be the defence. Defending as a whole team would be a big difference. I think we've maybe got 6 clean sheets out of our last 7 games, which isn't spoken about really. It's more spoken about the goals, but our defence has tightened up a lot. We've got Tommy Manos in goals, but Aiden Bryce as well has just been unbelievable. My pick for probably the best centre back in the league. I used to absolutely hate the bloke, to be honest, playing up against him at night, and he knows that. We used to have a bit of a rivalry, but now he's like a brother to me. So I'm loving playing with him. He's been unbelievable. Unfortunately, our skipper's been down for most of the year, Matty Reid. So I mean, that's a scary prospect as well when he comes back to have those two in the side. But our defence, I think, is a big difference. But like I was saying earlier, just maybe a bit more maturity with those in-game decisions, when you've got to put your foot on the ball, when to go and things like that. So I think that's probably a big difference.
Yeah, we heard Zoki Markowski in the commentary on on Friday, saying that keep the ball to work the ball and maybe don't go forward at every opportunity just to keep them and drag them around the pitch. So we'll wrap it up very shortly. But I just want to touch base with you. It's your last season playing football in NPL Victoria before you, as you said, fly off to home in Perth with a young family.
Yep.
You're the leading goal scorer in the NPL competitions as we speak. And you're lying third in this year's competition, just 3 behind Jonas Markowski. Is it going to be all singing, all dancing towards the end of the season and going to the gala medal, picking up the premiers, maybe the golden boot as well? Is that in your thoughts?
We won't rule it out. I mean, three goals can change very quickly. When I won it in 2019, I was someone up right behind me. I can't remember who, and it was, I had a few goal lead, and then it changed right towards the end, and I was panicking that I might not have won it at the end. But for me now, like I said, my main focus is winning as a team. I've only with this group, I feel like we've only won that one cup, Doherty Cup. Although the group's changed a little bit. We really need to be winning something this year. But at the same time, I mean, I've enjoyed every second I've had at Avondale, and it'd be a nice way to cap it off to win an individual accolade as well, like the Golden Boot. But like I said, to win the minor premiers and the grand final as well, because I've lost 2 of those. So.
Well, it all starts this weekend. You're travelling up to Bendigo this weekend, I believe, for a home fixture, isn't it?
That's the following week.
Next week. We've got nights away this week.
Yeah,
and then up to Bendigo. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So, listen, on behalf of I suppose the whole football community here in Victoria, you've had a fantastic 8 years. I think it is. You've been over in Melbourne.
Yep.
You've certainly starred, mate, and you've done yourself very proud and the family very proud. And let's go hope that you can go on and win, because we've actually jinxed it for you. So all 4 of us have said we're going to win the minor premiers. So Zocchi won't be happy for me mentioning that. But look, wish you and the boys all the very best for the remaining 7 games of the season, and look forward to seeing you perhaps at the top of the goal chart come the end of it.
I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot, Craig. And maybe I'll be back on at the end of the year and we'll hopefully winners. But I appreciate it all, and have a good one.
Good on you, Liam.
Thanks, Liam. All the best.
Liam Boland there from the Avondale Football Club. All right, gents, let's continue, Craig, with the rest of our little analysis. We're going to have to get it through very quickly because we certainly don't want to be here all night. But what we're going to be the next questions?
All right, runners up then.
South.
Yeah, I think it has to be. I think it has to be South. The gap is it's just the bit too big between them and Oakley for the moment.
Dave?
Yeah, I want to say Oakley, but I think it's going to be too much of a stretch, unless South had a really bad run with some key players out, which I don't see happening. I think South will hang on to that second spot.
Tonci?
South. Definitely South.
Clean sweep again, I think.
Yeah, definitely South.
Yep, nice and easy. Okay.
Oh, the relegated one.
Yeah, there we go. Let's get the table back up and let's just.
This is make some enemies time here, is it
not?
Yeah.
This is definitely makes some.
People are going to be turning off on these predictions.
I was accused yesterday at North Geelong that I'd condemned the club to relegation. I said it's my reverse psychology tactic. If I say that they're going to go down, the kiss of death, they're going to come back. They want to prove me wrong. Look, yesterday I commentated the North Geelong Moreland City game. Lots of mistakes from both sides, and you can quite clearly see they are struggling and they're at the other end of the table. If you watch the game like Avondale and Green Gully the night before, is a completely different contest altogether. I'm going to go out on the limb and I'm going to say Moreland City's definitely going to be one of those 2 teams. At the start of the season, I predicted North Geelong were going to finish in third last position. Bentley Greens, the key here is how they recruit, who they recruit, and if they recruit anyone. St Albans Saints are in all sorts of bother, so that could be the dark horse. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm going to say Moreland City and Bentley Greens as is. I don't want to have any more enemies Steve.
Look, the rumours keep coming in that the Bentley Greens are going to bring in some players. I'm yet to hear who they're going to be bringing in, and that they're going to sign these players. And Rick Marchioli is going to get them out of the scrap of relegation. Plenty of time left to do so if they can get a couple of results going their way. I think, Moreland are just having no luck at all. They've had a shocking run with losing players, transfers, injuries. Losing the coach. Dave's doing a great job there. There's situations obviously with behind the scenes at the club too that are a bit difficult to bring in anyone as well from what we're hearing. I think Moreland will be one of the teams at the moment that we expect to go down. And I'm not sure about North Geelong as well. I know Caleb Miklich hasn't had the outstanding season that he had last year, but hearing that he's going to be one of the players transferring away from the club as well. It means they lose a bit of depth. Young Luka Jurkovic stepped in and scored yesterday, but I think the two promoted sides from last season might be the favourites to go down that I'll go for, saying that St Albans losing a couple of key players in Ott and Ruthven as well. That's going to give them a real issue with depth. And Hume City could be another one as well, because the amount of players that they've lost, key players as well, McGlade and Yagub Mustafa, two players that they can't really afford to lose. More coaching changes. It's going to be really interesting at the bottom end of the table. Yes. I think, like we've said with our predictions at the top, it seems pretty clear cut. But anyone in those bottom 5 places, I think. But I think if I have to put down 2, I will just say Moreland and North at the moment.
Lucky.
I'm gonna say what I say with the caveat.
You've got a little bit of a thing for Bentley Greens. You still think Bentley Greens are going to get into this lock?
I do. I think the caveat that has to be made is there is still a mid-season window in the offing right now. They've still got plenty of chances, all of these sides in the promotion, the relegation fight, to sign players that can help them avoid it. And if I just look at who's come in the door now so far, I think Bentley have just got a little bit more pulling power and financial sway than some of the teams that are nearby them. And I think ultimately that will be the difference. I mean, they signed a player in Munib Adis, who is someone I've seen play at the African Nations Cup and is a top player. From all reports, he played very well. Danny Dixon has come in as well from Heidelberg. And I'm also told that Golgol Mabratu, who we've only seen him play for a minute at Avondale when he did his hamstring on debut, but obviously has a fair bit of pedigree. So if they can get him on the park, combine it with those signings, I think with the more windows still to come, that probably just gives them the edge and gives them the safety. So I'm going to say that, the 2 promoted sides will be the 2 to go down. Sorry.
Tonci.
I said sorry.
Interesting. Am I being very diplomatic, or do I know something? I don't know. But Craig, over to you.
Yeah, look, following really on, just put that ladder back up for me, Tonch. Just following back on from what Lockie said there. I think, Moreland City and North Geelong, I think Bentley Greens will have enough to get out of this. St Albans, as you said, Steve, have lost a few players, so they're clearly in a dogfight as well. They've got some massive games they've got, but they do have I suppose the saving grace for St Albans is they have 6 home games out of their last 7: Bentley, Port Melbourne, Magic, Avondale, North Geelong, Moreland, and Green Gully. And Green Gully. Moreland is the away game. So that's a big plus for St Albans, given what normally is the state of the pitch there up at Churchill Reserve at this time of the year. Hume City, well, we know what's going on. Well, nobody knows what's going on there. There's players being out the door every day of the week, change of coaches. I think three coaches in the last couple of weeks. I heard rumours, and it is only rumours, that there's another coach coming in this week, if he's not already there. I think he was in and involved the club recently as a player, and I think he's going back to help out. And I've heard a very strong rumour that there might be an ex Hume City coach coming back for the 2024 season. So
there you go. Lots of rumours.
We'll have a look on that. But look, in terms of the my prediction, unfortunately for me, I'm going to say it is the two promoted clubs again. I think Bentley will just have enough to get out of this with some signings, but I think Moreland and North, unfortunately, are going to be the ones for me that are going to be in NPL2 this time next year.
Okay, well, there we go. We're going to have to take a break and move on to NPL2 next after this. It's time's really getting on, but we're going to have a very, very short break. We can only afford a very short break, folks. When we return, it's the Chaos competition, NPL2, NPL3 after that, and then NPLW at the very, very end. It's a huge show, folks. Football Out West show. Whoopsie, let's take two.
Oh, that was a short break, Tonci.
Carpentry by NJT is based in the western suburbs and has many years of experience to assist you in sourcing any and all of your carpentry needs. Carpentry by NJT are great supporters of local soccer clubs in Melbourne's western suburbs, including ambitious State League One outfit Sydenham Park Soccer Club. Home Builders Corp, meanwhile, is a Melbourne-based construction company by the same owners with more than 15 years' experience. Home Builders Corp specialises in new homes and unit developments. With attention to detail, they work to the highest standard to satisfy their customers with a very quick turnaround. For further details about how either Carpentry by NJT or Home Builders Corp can help you, contact owner-manager Nick on 0410 576 018 or via email at nick@homebuilderscorp.com.au. Carpentry by NJT and Home Builders Corp are the proud major sponsors of the Football Out West show.
It's now time to look at the Chaos League, and for obvious reasons, we're not going to ask Craig Filer his predictions because some may deem it might be whatever clash of interest or whatever.
His conflict of interest is considerable, unfortunately.
I think. Shall I just? I'll depart for the next part of the show. Shall I?
That's the old BBC football phone in. I have to declare your interest before you make any comments.
All right, Steve, let's get on with the results first. Let's whiz through this, and then we'll go through the ladder, and then we'll go through the fixtures, and then
some tight games this weekend, Tonci. So Friday night we had Northcote and Bulleen. That was scoreless. It was 1-1 at the Veneto Club, where Melbourne City hosted the Preston Lions, who had brought in some new faces in their transfer window already into their squad. It was a really important win for Brunswick Juventus with a Barfarosh goal on 2 minutes that saw them get the win in the Brunswick derby. And yesterday we had Langwarrin 3, Pascoe Vale 1. So the tough spell of results continues for Pascoe Vale. It was tight between Eastern Lions and title chasing Kingston City 1-1 over at Gardeners Creek, and Manningham United Blues and Dandenong City, another couple of teams that are playing pretty good football at the business end of the season. That was 0-0. And Western United getting 5 past Werribee City yesterday as well to round out round 19, guys.
All right, Lockie, let's go through the ladder.
Yeah, well, Kingston just so tight. Remain top of the table on goals scored, if you can believe that. Western United have jumped back into the promotion places from the look of things after the weekend's results. That big victory over Werribee, throwing them back into the promotion picture. While Preston Lions, off the back of a number of draws, have just slipped out, only a point behind, while Dandenong City, Eastern Lions and Manningham United make up the rest of the top half of the table. Langwarrin not far behind in that pack too, because they're level on points with Manningham, behind only on goal difference. Melbourne City up into 8th, while Werribee have dropped to 9th after that result yesterday. And then the bottom 5 sides are Northcote City, Brunswick City, Brunswick Juventus, who have slipped out of the relegation zone off the foot of the table with that win in the Brunswick derby, while Bulleen, Lions and Pascoe Vale, 2 very big fish, sitting at the foot of the table.
Craig, take us through the fixtures coming up. Round 20 this weekend.
Yeah, we'll do Friday evening. Dandy City take on Melbourne City down at Frank Olhan. Pasca Vale and Brunswick Juventus. Well, what a game that is up at CB
Wow.
Smith Reserve on Friday evening. Preston Lions, Langwarren on BT Connor Reserve on Friday evening. On Saturday, Brunswick City against Kingston City. Eastern Lions, Kingston City, who had, I believe, 2 men sent off yesterday and a couple of injuries, so they might struggle for the next couple of weeks. Eastern Lions taking on Northcote City, and then Sunday, Western United against Manningham United up at City Vista, and on Monday, Bulleen Lions against Werribee City.
Some interesting fixtures coming up already this weekend, and if we have a look at the next, I guess the next questions, is it first of all, it's up to me to choose it. If we go, it's down to NPL2 or up to NPL2.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. Promoted. So we're looking at the 2 teams that are going to get promoted. So if we bring that ladder back up, this is tough. I mean, any one of those 3 teams up the top. Dandenong City have been getting points. Look, I'm gonna say Western United, and it's either Preston or Kingston City, and I'm going to say Preston simply because of that thing we talked about, the pulling power, the resources. They may land themselves a big recruit, and I think when the going gets tough, the Lions are just going to draw, ever so. I think they've just been holding back a little bit. Steve, you've gone to a lot of these games and commentated. You'd be able to have a better indication, but I'm going to say Western United and Preston Lions. Steve?
Yeah, look, some of the challenges I've seen for Preston is they seem to have a drastically different team they put out on the park every week. They've signed a lot of players. There's a lot of depth to their squad. They're adding more players. There is a few players leaving, getting that continuity of that same 11 every week. They play on a pitch that seems enormous when you go there as well. They do a lot of running, and then they seem to end up with suffering an unfortunate amount of injuries. But I think they're going to put a lot of investment into the squad and do whatever they can. And they've got the right people there to see them get through in one of those top 2 places. And I think Western United are doing the right things as well, albeit a development squad. I think we're going to see what will be feel a little bit bizarre, but a development squad from Western United getting promotion along with Preston Lions and Kingston City. They've still got a good draw as well, Kingston, though, and they're pretty good, pretty handy at home, I find, in those night games. But I think any of those 3, I mean, Dandenong City, I like what they're doing. I really liked what I saw from even Manningham United in 6th place as well. When I saw them live the other week, they play some really good football. But if I had to say, I'm going to go for Western United and Preston.
Oh, there you go. Yep. Lockie?
Yeah, I mean, it's an impossible question you're asking me, really, to predict who's going to go up.
Yeah, that's the correct answer.
It's absolutely. I mean, the table is so tight that, I mean, realistically, anyone from 5 upwards can still go up. It's
so true.
It's just nuts. I wouldn't be ruling out anyone who's in the top
14
half.
points between first and last, Lock.
I mean,
Unreal.
How many leagues are there where the bottom sides have 6 wins for the season at this point? That's like that. This is ridiculous.
It is the Chaos League.
Favorite because you may not see another competition like it. However, if you were putting a gun to my head, I will say that Preston will be one of the 2 teams to go up because of the pulling power that you've mentioned in your address, Tonci, but also the other pull that they have is the scale of the fan base. We saw as they were in their promotion push out of NPL 3 how important their fandom became to being that 12th man, helping to will the side over the line through injuries and obstacles. And I see no reason why that couldn't necessarily continue at the business end of this season. They were in a similar sort of spot last year where they were just stumbling a little bit and were able to push on, I think, win 10 straight to close out the season. So they've got a little bit less leeway than that, but I think the combination of those factors means that they will do it. And I'm going to back in Chaos Kingston. They're the Chaos team in the Chaos League. They're ridiculous. To return to the top flight. They've got some players who are really, really elite at this level. And they don't show any signs of slowing down. So those will be the 2. They've got the character and experience that might just edge out the the more youthful Western United side when it comes to the crunch.
Looking at the relegation, if we go to look at that, then I'm going to say Pascoe Vale. Unfortunately, Parco have just been struggling this year. But if we go back to that ladder, the other team that I'm tipping, and I'm going to say out of left field, Brunswick City, for no other reason than Bulleen Lions and Brunswick Juventus. They're two big clubs. They are just massive clubs, and whether they're going to dip into the transfer market, whether they've just got the push to remain in this competition. I just think they are going to peak at the right time. That's what my gut feeling tells me, nothing else. Relegation, Pascoe Vale and Brunswick City. Steve-O.
This is even worse than the previous question you asked me, Tonci, I have to say.
Absolutely. You have to guess. You have to just guess.
Gosh. I remember seeing Pascoe Vale in round 1 at Preston and thinking this is a seriously decent side, and now we find them on the bottom of the table. I think there's not much to go on here if you haven't seen these teams up close. One thing about Pascoe Vale is their current run of outs they're having, they need to really turn it around. And I think just based on their current form line over the last few weeks, I'm going to pick them as one of my two. The other one is just probably a complete guess, but I'm going to go for Brunswick Juventus.
Wow. Lucky.
This is actually my brain might explode. It's going to sound a bit contrarian given how much I've been complaining about, but I actually think I've settled on my two teams fairly quickly. And I'll explain why. I think both Brunswick teams, as it currently stands, will be the two for me. I mean, Brunswick, Juventus, Paco, Bulleen are all big clubs. So I think there will be a big fish that is down in the NPL 3 next season. But I think Brunswick Juventus will be it. And the reason why I think Paco will survive because they play just at a count up of what teams they're playing on the run home. They play every single other team in the bottom 4 with them at the moment, Paco. Whereas the other two, Bulleen and Brunswick, don't have that luxury. Neither do Brunswick City, and they only play one team in the top 4, as opposed to Bulleen. They play the top 4, 3 of the top 4 sides in their final 3 games. I think Brunswick also have 3 games against the top 4 sides coming up. However, I know it sounds like I'm saying Bulleen and Brunswick Juventus will be the 2 teams to go down, but Bulleen are going to splash the cash. They have got the quality there. They will add a layer on top of that, which will, I think, allow them to survive. And I think Brunswick City are just going to be the unfortunate victim of that strengthening. Juventus will probably add a few names as well, but their squad, as Tony has pointed out in the comments, is quite on the older side in this competition, and I just don't think they'll have the legs to survive, and particularly with some of the games they've got coming up.
There you go. Some interesting stuff. All right. Shall we pick?
And I will say, guys, from a coaching perspective, sitting in the dugout week in, week out, you just have no idea what's going to happen. It really is a tough league, and I think you said it earlier on, Lockie. I don't think you'll ever see a league quite as close as this for a long time. You know, it's just bonkers. It's ridiculous.
Well, and in the same way I said the top 5 sides could all get promoted, realistically, anyone in the bottom half of the table is still a chance of cover your ears, Greg, but it's a chance of going down.
Yeah. No, it's tough week in, week out. You have to, and as coaches have said when they've come on the show, you know, if you don't turn up and you're not on it, you will get found out very, very quickly. And that proved with us yesterday, guys. We didn't turn up. We got beaten by a fantastic, young, energetic, well-coached football side. And if you want me to put my top and thin of who's gonna get promoted, definitely put Western United in there. I actually think they'll probably win the league, based on what I saw yesterday. If they can keep their players fit and keep them on the park, they're a very, very good footballing side. But it's a tough league. It's a tough league.
Well, folks, get yourself out to CB Smith Reserve this Friday night. Pascoe Vale taking on Brunswick Juventus. If there is a 6-pointer at stake, if there is one game that is going to be an absolute classic this next weekend coming up, it's that game. Brunswick Juventus could pull away from the relegation zone. Pascoe Vale could make things really, really interesting yet again. And as I said, anything can happen. It is the Chaos League. Folks, we're going to take a very short break. When we return.
Just before we do, Joey G's not happy with Lockie. In the comments, he's not happy, mate. He's having a pop at you, mate.
Yeah, well,
Joey,
we did say...
I say those are great counterpoints to my argument, and I say don't take an issue with the person who has to answer this question. Take an issue with the person who's asking the question, because you're asking an impossible... it's like putting me in a straitjacket and saying, just get out. For no assistance, just get out. It can't be done. It can't be done. I'm sorry.
Well, if there was one competition that could probably match the NPL2 Victoria competition in terms of chaos and pandemonium, it's NPL3. And folks, when we return, we're going to take a very, very short break. When we return, it is going to be the NPL3 competition. Just as exciting at the top and just as exciting at the bottom. And we'll also look at the relegation rules interstate league as well. So don't go away. It is the Football Out West show.
Welcome to Anytime Fitness in Werribee.
The club with the most supportive, welcoming and friendliest members and staff.
Whether you're a first-timer, gym goer or just an everyday person, we are here for you.
A recently renovated facility offers you everything you need to get started with your health and fitness goals.
Our club offers brand new state-of-the-art cardio equipment, an amazing functional zone for group classes, a lifting zone, and really does cater for every single person. So don't miss out. Come see us in club to redeem this offer.
All right.
Welcome back. And Steve, over to you.
All right, NPL3 time. You've been waiting for this one. If you're a fan of NPL3, you've always got to listen to us banging on about the Chaos League and NPL2, but NPL3, a lot of people love this competition as well. Now, yesterday, a big result. Ballarat City getting a 3-2 win up at Shepparton against the Goulburn Valley Suns. So the Basement Boys get themselves a win there. Also yesterday, Doveton on the road getting a win, 1-0 at Beaumaris. A high-scoring one, Burundara Carey Eagles, 3-2 over the North Sunshine Eagles in the Eagles derby yesterday over at Burundara Carey's ground. It was a high-scoring thriller, 4-4 between Geelong and Box Hill United yesterday at Stead Park. And today, a rare bit of Sunday football, which there wasn't much of this weekend in the men's competition. It was Melbourne Victory 1, Essendon 1. So the league leaders held there by the Royals.
Lockie, let's look at the ladder and try not to make any more enemies, mate.
I'm doing my best, but I can read a ladder. That's factual. It's not opinion based. So to that end, Melbourne Victory sit on top of the table with a nice little buffer on 35 points. I think they managed to get a draw today late on against Essendon Royals, if my memory is serving me correctly. Caroline Springs, the other club in the promotion places, while Nunawading Goulburn Valley Suns, who have got cup considerations coming up as well. Burundara and Doveton make up the remainder of the top half. Meanwhile, North Sunshine are sitting in 7th, but again, only a handful of points outside of being within a shot of taking one of those other promotion spots, while there's a 4-point gap there down to 8th, where Box Hill sit alongside Essendon Royals and Geelong Soccer Club in the, safer zone, I guess, for now, while Beaumaris, 1 point away from safety, have a comfortable patch of daylight from Michael Trigger's Ballarat City, who sit on the foot of the table with just 5 points to their name.
All right, Craig, let's have a look at this weekend coming and the round 16 fixtures.
Yeah, Beaumaris take the long trip up to Ballarat Regional Soccer for a 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. Nunawading, who didn't play this weekend, will play North Sunshine Eagles, Burundara, Carey Eagles, Doveton, Caroline Springs, George Cross up there at City Vista, Essendon Royals versus Goulburn Valley, and then on Sunday, Melbourne Victory versus Box Hill United up at Epping Stadium.
Yeah, if we look at that ladder again, that game, Nunawading City and North Sunshine. North Sunshine at one stage was really, really close to any in the promotion zone, but they're still only 3 points away. Isn't that amazing? And, a decent win over Nunawading City will see Nunawading City drop below North Sunshine on goal difference. So that's a big game coming up this weekend. If we put the fixtures up again, that's the pick of the games for this weekend. That's for sure. They're at Marnie's Reserve at 3 p.m. But obviously George Cross and Nunawading City still got a game in hand. So look, all to play for, the gents. Who's going to go first with the predictions here? Me?
Go for it, Tonci. Lead us off.
Whoa! All right, promoted. One team is easy. Melbourne Victoria are absolutely doing really, really well. They would have felt really bad last year not getting promoted into NPL 2, along with Melbourne City and Western United and Preston. But I think they've got it home and hosed. I mean, they drew on the weekend against Essendon Royal. I think they'll do it. This is the big one. Caroline Springs are in the box seat. They've got a game in hand against Nunawading City, so that the outcome of that result will be crucial, I think, to the end result. But look, Nunawading City this week taking on North Sunshine. George Cross need a win to just create that buffer. Goal difference could become a big thing here, but I will stick my head out and say victory and George Cross. I think George Cross are in a good position. At the other end of the competition standings, this one's going to be tough. Ballarat City, I think, will still get it's too big a gap, 10, 11 points, too big a gap. I think Ballarat City will get relegated. And now any one of the teams between Beaumaris, Geelong, Essendon Royals and Box Hill United, I think Geelong's safe. Marvin Browweiler has moved from North Geelong in the week. He scored 2 goals last night. He's going to be a big player. Apparently, there's a couple of boys from Werribee City that have also moved to Geelong. And there's another player, I think, from Altona City as well. I think Geelong have picked up enough players there. The biggest key for them is Anthony Trykovsky, their captain, who was injured for about 2 months. And he's back and he's scored, I think, in the last 2-3 weeks consecutively. So I think they've got enough firepower to save themselves. Essendon Royals are, if they can hold Melbourne Victory to a 1-1 draw, they'll be safe. So I think it's going to be Ballarat City and Beaumaris. Steve?
All right. Well, so for the top of the table, just quickly, Melbourne Victory, they should be able to get that one home and hosed and get up to the NPL 2, the division of choice for the A-League Academy sides, we'll call it. Caroline Springs, George Cross looking pretty good. They've been in a really good run of form. They're adding players to their squad. We're hearing, Caleb Miklich coming across from North Geelong. They got that game in hand. Nunawading City are a chance as well. The Goulburn Valley Suns, I think Lockie mentioned that cup commitments might just tire them out with those trips up and down the Goulburn Valley Highway there. So I think victory with Georgies and Ballarat. Unfortunately, I'm a big advocate for regional clubs in the NPL competition, but I can't see Ballarat getting out of this one unless something remarkable was to happen. Beaumaris happened to play Geelong on the final day of the season at Stead Park, but I think for the reasons that you mentioned, Tonci, Geelong will be out of any relegation contention by that day, and Beaumaris will be going down on that last day of the season there at Stead Park.
Lockie?
I'm doing promotion and relegation in one swoop here, just confirming.
Correct, yes.
Okay, good. What I did want to just quickly add is I know we give so much attention to NPL2 as the Chaos League, but I think, I'm going to say this, I think NPL3 should command a bit more respect. I mean, a 3-2 this weekend, a 4-4 draw, and I know that Georgies and North Sunshine Eagles had a 6-3 a couple of weeks ago. Out of George Cross, which was an insane game, an enjoyable one to watch. And I have been of the Georgies games that I've seen. Caroline Springs, of course, really impressed with what they've done, particularly in an offensive sense. So I will back them in as one of my 2 sides to go up. Although what a big game we were deprived of this weekend. Nunawading v Caroline Springs whenever that game gets played. That could potentially be for the final promotion place. Victory have got a healthy buffer, and they've got the motivation of having missed out in such heartbreaking circumstances to Kingston in the promotion relegation playoff last year.
I think you commentated that one, didn't you? You commentated that game.
Yeah. I did. There was quite a lengthy stoppage for a leg break for Mark Latsis. It was an hour long, but funnily enough, Mark is now playing for Victory and helping them in their promotion push. The one thing to watch out for with them is if some of their A-League academy players potentially, or senior contractor players maybe drop off, go in their off-season, that kind of thing. But the 7-point gap is probably going to be enough to get them over the line. Meanwhile, I think that the bottom two sides will probably remain as they are. I think the return of Tchaikovsky, Tonci, you sold me on Geelong staying up, because 6 goals in 9 games is nothing to be sniffed at, and that's a very important bit of firepower to have at your disposal down the bottom end of the table.
Captain Courageous. Craig.
Look, guys, I can't go from anything any of you said. I think the bottom two are there. I think Geelong will get out of this. Looking at the players that they've bought in, I think it'll make them a little bit stronger. I think Essendon Rolls will just be good. The one that worries me a little bit is perhaps Box Hill, but I am rumors around that they are investing in a few players. But for me, it would be the bottom two as is. And at the top of the ladder, I think 7 points is a big buffer to lose. So I think Melbourne Victory are all but done there. And then it really is between any one of 5 or 6 teams. If somebody gets on a good run, Boroondara Eagles, Goulburn Valley, George Cross have the points in the bag. They do have that game in hand against Nunawading, which will be a huge game. They are going to invest heavily in this squad. We know that. We know where Caroline Springs want to be in their end goal. So they're not going to sit back and not invest in the squad. So I think as it is there, guys, it'll be the top two going up and the bottom two going down.
Yeah. Well, there we go. There's what we're predicting, and we'll go through that. So if we can look basically. Pretty much all of us have said the same ones to get relegated, and pretty much everyone has said Melbourne Victory and George Cross to get promoted. So
strength in numbers. No one can attack us individually. If
Absolutely,
we all
that's
attack the whole show.
Most clubs. We just can't go around all of them. Yeah.
Well, that's been the strategy amongst us. Folks, we're going to take a very short break. When we return, it's time for the ladies. We'll be looking at the NPLW competition. But before we do that, let's just have a quick look at the promotion relegation from State League 3 down into Men's State League 1. And there's the schedule that is up on the Football Victoria website. This is causing a little bit of controversy, a little bit of, let's call it discussion. We've been approached from various members of various clubs, and at the moment, the way it stands, it's only the top team from Men's State League 1 Northwest and the top team from Men's State League 1 Southeast. They get promoted. Gents, is there any talk that the 12-team NPL 3 competition will get expanded to 14 teams to match NPL 2 and NPL 1? In that case, will things change? Has anyone heard anything?
I have not.
Nothing from my side, no.
Just crickets at the moment, Tonci, from all of us.
Yeah, it seems so. Look, next week, folks, we're going to have the State League comprehensive analysis. So we'll be going through all of the State League competitions as well.
We can make some more enemies further down the divisions. Excellent.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get a couple of the main actors from the State League 1 clubs as well.
I'm not already involved. Not me.
What did Sergeant Schultz in Hogan's Hero say? I know nothing. Yep. Okay, folks, we're going to take a very, very short break. And when we come back, it's the NPLW competition that we'll be taking a look at. Don't go away, folks.
Carpentry by NJT is based in the western suburbs and has many years of experience to assist you in sourcing any and all of your carpentry needs. Carpentry by NJT are great supporters of local soccer clubs in Melbourne's western suburbs, including ambitious State League One outfit Sydenham Park Soccer Club. Home Builders Corp, meanwhile, is a Melbourne-based construction company by the same owners with more than 15 years' experience. Home Builders Corp specialises in new homes and unit developments. With attention to detail, they work to the highest standard to satisfy their customers with a very quick turnaround. For further details about how either Carpentry by NJT or Home Builders Corp can help you, contact owner-manager Nick on 0410 576 018 or via email at nick@homebuilderscorp.com.au. Carpentry by NJT and Home Builders Corp are the proud major sponsors of the Football Out West show.
Well, last but certainly not least, it's time now to look at the NPLW competition. Gents, I'm really happy and excited about the NPLW competition in the sense that it has expanded this year, and we've seen immediately a lot more games, a lot more quality. The guests that we've had on the show from the NPLW competition are just raving on about it. Next year, hopefully, it'll be a 12-team competition. So I think from what I gather, only one team to get relegated. But let's delve into that a little bit later. But Steve, first of all, let's look at the results of the latest round of matches played.
Yeah, so Preston got themselves back on the winners list against the Cellar Dwellers Southern United 2-0 on Friday night at BT Connor Reserve. A couple of matches on Saturday, a high-scoring one at Dorothy Laver West Reserve, Alamein 3, Burundara Carey Eagles 3. So good value for money for everyone attending that one. Bayside United went down at home it was actually played at Kingston Heath. Sorry, that is the home ground. Sorry, I'm getting a bit tired. This shows must be going on too long. Bayside United 1, FBM 3. Calder, they had the bye and taking place today. Google Sports says this game was suspended. That's incorrect because Sports TG has even got a result for us, which is Box Hill United 2, Heidelberg United 0. And we've got one game to come, and this is a really important game at the top end of the table, really. Two teams who are going along pretty nicely, FC Bulleen Lions and South Melbourne, a couple of teams who strengthened in the window. Can we call it a transfer window, or at least the time when the players have been recruiting players from the A-League Women's? Both of those sides looking pretty handy at the moment.
Lucky, the latter.
Yeah, well, perhaps the beneficiary of us addressing this latter while there is still one game to be played. Burundara Carey Eagles, who remain at the top of the table on goal difference, level on points, though, with second placed FC Bulleen Lions, who, of course, do have that very big game in hand to come against South Melbourne tomorrow night at the Veneto Club, who are hot on their heels, just 3 points behind, with 2 extra games still to be played, while Bayside United having by far the best season I can remember them having in the NPLW competition, rounding out the top 4. They've got to watch over their shoulder, though, because 4 points back are Calder United, Heidelberg United, and Box Hill in 5th, 6th, and 7th, respectively, while Alamein are not far behind on 18, Preston sitting in 8th place, FV emerging in 10th, and a decent way clear of Southern United, who sit at the bottom of the table with just 2 points to their name.
I do like the way that the 7th place side is actually 9th and the 9th is 7th. It's,
yes, it's been a long day.
I did have
that confused you. I thought I was.
Thank God I was reading. That's good.
Yeah, I take full responsibility for that. It's been a long day. I do the graphics, and I did notice in the NPL Victoria, did anyone else pick that up? Bentley Greens and Moreland City were flipped over, so I just had enough time to correct myself there. But that is the right positioning. But yeah, Box Hill United is 7th, Alamein 8th, and Preston Lions 9th. But the points are correct. Let's look at the fixtures coming up next weekend, kicking off with a big game or 2 big games on Friday night, Craig.
Yep. Preston Lions, who struggled a little bit this year in their first season up in the NPLW, taking on Burundara Carey Eagles down up at BT Connors. FA merging against Box Hill, and on Saturday, Alamein Heidelberg. Bayside against South Melbourne. That'll be a good game as well. Southern United take on Calder United, and then Boleyn get a bye this weekend. So a lot of good NPLW fixtures over the weekend.
Yeah, if we now we'll quickly put up the ladder, and look at that! Lo and behold, the problem has been corrected.
Unbelievable.
Very nice.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, blinking, it's all right. All right, gents, let's go through it. Oh gosh, it's very difficult up the top. It's very difficult, and it's made even harder because everyone has played a different number of games. There are games in hand. There are games that's still to come. It's going to be an interesting for the minor premier. It's going to be very interesting. Look, I'm tipping South Melbourne. But the big game, tomorrow night, that's going to be a big one. That is going to be and that a lot of it will basically, in a way, season defining. Is it too loose or to use that word season defining now? But tomorrow night, Bulleen taking on South Melbourne, I think it's going to tell a lot about who's going to end up, come season's end on top. I'm going to stick my head out and say South Melbourne. Southern United for relegation. No.
Just to ask us a question, guys, is there a Premier's plate for this one, Lockie, and then a grand final the same?
Yep. It's
top four plate.
Same. It's just the number of teams that qualify for finals that is different. So it's a top four, as I understand. Yes.
Yeah, that's how I understood it. And 2 teams will get promoted from next season's VPLW. Only 1 team getting relegated at season's end, and that, from what I understand, has been confirmed. So, who's next? Steve?
All right, so predictions. We're looking at predictions. So we're looking top 2 and bottom 2. Is that where we're at again?
The minor premier, the top team. And the bottom side,
I was going to say... Yeah, I was going to say South Melbourne with the games in hand, and I've seen them playing some good football when I've ventured down to Lakeside on a few Sundays during this season. But I see that they play every single match away from home, all of their fixtures reversed for the rest of the season. That can't be helpful, and I think that might cost them a chance to get top spot in the end. And a fairy tale, I'm going to tip a fairy tale. Burundara Carey Eagles to finish top, and South Melbourne will end up getting second place.
Oh, wow. There you go. And relegation?
Let's just leave it as you were. Southern United, they are going to be the last place team, and FE emerging. I can't see them making up the ground, despite they do play some good football. So you never know. But how is that? There's 5 teams above FE emerging. Throw a blanket over all of them, just 2 points separating them.
Amazing. Lockie?
Well, there's one big reason that would stand out as why you should back in Burundara to secure the Premier's plate in their first season in the NPLW, and that is their striker, Correa Aquino, who, if you haven't been watching, if you don't know, now you know. Pay attention to her. She has 21 goals in 14 games so far this season. 13 more than the next nearest in the Golden Boot. I think someone who, yes, she's a visa hailing from Japan, but someone who I think A-League women's side should be considering taking a punt on when the season does roll around. Despite that, I am not going to predict Burundara to finish top. I think FC Bulleen Lions will be the side to take out the Premier's plate. A lot of these sides in the top half of the table have strengthened, adding A-League women's quality players back into their sides. I think FC Bulleen Lions have done it the best of all of them. The quality of the players they have on the wing alone in Alana Yanchevsky of Perth Glory and BT Goad, who is the victory medalist from their most recent season, is just it is unparalleled, and they've beaten Burundara, I think, in 2 separate fixtures. It was a draw and a win. So they've gotten both of their games against Boroondara out of the way. If they win this one against South Melbourne tomorrow night, I think I'm willing to pencil them in as the premiers.
Yeah, tomorrow's match will determine a lot. Craig, last but certainly not least, your choice for Premier's Plate and relegation fodder.
Yeah, we'll start off with the Southern United. They're most definitely down at this stage, aren't they? I can't see them getting out of that at the top. Look, I suppose it would be a fairy tale, wouldn't it, for Boroondara Carey to take out the plate? But I think with Lockie and I already had FC Lions in the spreadsheet before it came up. They haven't scored massive amounts of goals, but I think the strengthening that they've done will allow them to do that. They've got the best defense in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And for that reason, the factors also play on the synthetic down there at the Veneto Club. I'm going to go with Bulleen Lions to win the plate and take out the grand final.
There we go. Well, that brings us. I think we've now managed to cover everything. That is. I think there's nothing more left to say. Thank you, folks, for being a part of tonight's show. We really appreciated all the comments. Next Sunday, we'll be looking at the Men's State League, the Women's VPLW as well. Lots to talk about. It'll be lots of, I tell you what, if tonight was a big show, next week will be just as big. And certainly this weekend coming with some great games. Lockie, great to have you on the show. We look forward to having you maybe, before the end of the season. And it's fast approaching, isn't it? But thank you for being a part of tonight's show. We really appreciated your input.
No, great to be back on this show as always, guys. I'll have to be watching my back for the next few days after making all the predictions. And apologies to those whose noses I might have put out of joint. I love all NPL clubs equally. I'm looking forward to seeing how they all shake up in what should be a very exciting finish to the season in all four NPL divisions.
Where else can we hear you this week, Lockie?
Well, I'll be somewhere in the NPL sphere on the weekend, but in midweek, if you're not satiated with this amount of NPL discussion, myself and fellow Football Victoria commentator Nick Debano also host our own podcast called the NPL Victoria Pod, a very uncreative title, but hopefully a nice and entertaining show for you to listen to on your preferred podcast platform. So just NPL Victoria Pod on Twitter, and on Spotify, Apple, whatever you like elsewhere.
It's a great show you guys do there. If you're not on it, subscribe to it, get on it. It's
absolutely.
It does make me laugh for an hour and 20 minutes most days when I'm driving around. So great job, Lockie.
That's a relief to know. I'm glad someone is.
That's my way of keeping in touch with what the younger generation get up to in their spare time. These different games and things that they play that we wouldn't know about.
Well, I would like to know though, who is the mystery person that keeps coming past your door? Is that
I can't say yet. There is an NPL Victoria player who lives very close to my house, and I've seen him at least 20 times. In fact, I think that day that we recorded the most recent podcast episode, he walked past my house.
That was the traffic warden.
I'll have to hold on to it. It might have to be a Patreon exclusive or something. I'll lock it behind a paywall. have to pay for the privilege, and they probably won't.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Gents, thank you for being a part of tonight's show. Really appreciate it. All the very best to everyone fighting either a battle for promotion or relegation or championship contention. We really are at the business end of the local season. On that note, we'll have your company on next Sunday at 8 p.m. for part 2 of our big comprehensive coverage of what is happening in the local game. Until then, good night and have a great week. Bye-bye.